The orbital station Velis Prime floated like a shining jewel in the black sea of space. From a distance it looked peaceful, a great wheel of silver turning slowly above the glowing blue clouds of the gas giant below. But inside its long halls, tension ran like an electric current. The station was neutral territory where hundreds of species came to trade, sign treaties, or settle disputes. Today it hosted a meeting that could change the future of two great powers, the Human Union and the Xyrath Dominion. Captain Aaron Vane stepped off the human shuttle and into the echoing arrival chamber. The air smelled faintly of metal and strange spices from alien food stalls. Around him walked diplomats of many worlds, tall insect-like Caliph, floating Virans that shimmered like jellyfish, and the proud Xyrath guards in shining black armor. Aaron wore a dark blue diplomatic coat, but beneath it he carried the posture of a soldier. Years of service in the human navy had given him a straight back and steady eyes. His escort, a young officer named Mara, whispered as they walked. "Captain, are you sure about this meeting?" "The Xyrath are known for difficult traditions." Aaron gave a small smile. "I know their reputation, but I'm here to speak for Earth, not to play games. We show respect, but we don't bow." They passed through a tall archway where two Xyrath guards waited. Each guard stood over 2 meters tall, with silver-green skin that reflected the bright station lights. Their long eyes followed Aaron like silent predators. One of them spoke in a low melodic voice. "The High Empress awaits, follow." The corridor beyond glowed with soft blue light. The floor hummed under their steps as hidden engines kept the station turning to create artificial gravity. Aaron walked calmly, though his heart beat faster with each step. He had studied the Xyrath for years. They were a powerful empire of warriors and scientists, proud of their history and quick to test the courage of others. The Empress Zelira, ruler of the Dominion, was known across the galaxy for her sharp mind and unyielding pride. At last the corridor opened into the Grand Council chamber. The ceiling rose like the inside of a crystal dome. Stars shone through the transparent panels above, making it seem as if the meeting floated in open space. Around a wide circular table sat representatives of many alien species, their eyes turning toward the human captain as he entered. At the far end of the chamber sat Empress Zelira herself. She rose from a throne-like chair and stepped forward with smooth, commanding grace. She was taller than any human in the room, her long silver hair shining like starlight. Her ceremonial robe was woven with threads that caught the light in shifting colors, blue one moment, deep purple the next. Her narrow eyes glowed faintly, a sign of the Xyrath's advanced biology. "Captain Aaron Vane of Earth," she said, her voice ringing clear across the chamber. "Welcome to Velis Prime. You stand before the Council of Stars and before me, High Empress Zelira of the Xyrath Dominion." Aaron bowed his head politely but did not bend his knees. "Thank you for receiving me, Your Excellency. I bring greetings from the United Terran Council and the people of Earth." Zelira studied him for a long, silent moment. Around the table other alien delegates watched with interest. The tension felt heavy, as if the air itself waited to see what would happen next. The Empress spoke again, her voice smooth but carrying a sharp edge. "The humans have grown quickly in the short span of their existence. You build ships, you settle worlds, you speak as if you are equals to those who have ruled the stars for thousands of years. Tell me, Captain, do your people understand their place in the order of the galaxy?" Aaron met her gaze without fear. "We understand that every species, no matter how young or old, has the right to stand free. We seek friendship, not domination." A faint smile curved Zelira's lips, though her eyes remained cold. Strong words. But words are only breath. Among the Xyrath, respect is shown by action. If you wish to prove that your species understands the balance of power, there is a simple tradition you may perform. She lifted one elegant hand, and a guard stepped forward. With a slow, deliberate motion, Zelira extended her foot, shod in a shining silver sandal toward the floor before Aaron. "Kneel," she said softly, though the word carried across the entire chamber. "Kneel and kiss the foot of the Dominion. Show that you recognize the greatness of those who came before you. It is a small gesture, but it speaks louder than any speech." A shocked murmur ran around the chamber. Some of the alien delegates shifted in their seats, curious to see how the human would respond. Mara took a quick step forward, eyes wide, but Aaron raised a hand to stop her. For a heartbeat, the chamber was silent except for the soft hum of the station. Aaron looked down at the offered foot, then up into the glowing eyes of the Empress. He thought of the people of Earth, of the colonies scattered across the stars, of the long history of humans fighting to remain free. He thought of the soldiers who had died defending that freedom. Slowly, he straightened his shoulders. "Your Excellency," he said, his voice calm and steady. "I came here to speak as an equal, not as a servant. Humans do not kneel." Zalira's eyes narrowed slightly. "You refuse a simple act of respect?" "I offer respect through my words and my actions," Aaron replied. "But I will not bow. Not to anyone." For a long moment, Zalira remained still. Then, almost lazily, she tilted her head. "Perhaps you misunderstand the importance of this gesture." "I understand perfectly," Aaron said. He took a single step forward, not aggressive but firm. His gaze never left hers. "And my answer remains the same." The silence grew deeper. Around the chamber, the watching delegates held their breath. Zalira's lips tightened. The faint smile was gone. Aaron felt the weight of every eye on him, but he stood his ground. Then, with a slow, deliberate motion, he turned his head slightly and let a single drop of moisture fall from his lips onto the polished crystal floor near her foot. It was not aimed directly at her, but it was clear enough. A mark of rejection. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Mara froze in shock. Even the alien delegates, who normally showed no emotion, shifted in their seats. The two Zereth guards stiffened, their armored hands tightening on the grips of their weapons. Zalira's glowing eyes blazed with sudden light. For a moment, her voice was quiet, almost whispering. But every word cut through the air like a blade. "You dare to spit in the presence of the High Empress?" Aaron stood as still as a mountain. "I dare to remain human." The Empress straightened slowly, drawing herself to her full height. The shifting lights of her robe flared crimson, the color of war. "Then hear this, Captain Aaron Vane of Earth. Your action is an insult not only to me, but to the entire Dominion. By the ancient law of the Zyreth, such an insult is an act of war." The words fell like thunder. Across the chamber, delegates began to speak in hurried, frightened tones. Mara stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Your Excellency, please, silence," Zalira said sharply. She pointed a long finger toward Aaron. "You have chosen defiance. The stars will remember this day. The Dominion will answer." Aaron felt the weight of the moment settle on his shoulders like cold iron. He had known his choice would carry a price, but hearing the declaration spoken aloud made it real. Yet he did not regret it. "Then let the stars remember," he said quietly. Guards moved closer, their weapons ready but not yet drawn. Zalira lowered her hand and turned back toward her throne. "The council is dismissed. Prepare your worlds. The game of patience is over." As the chamber erupted in voices and movement, Aaron remained where he stood, tall and unyielding. He knew the path ahead would be dangerous, but he also knew that humanity's spirit had been tested and had not bent. Far beyond the crystal dome, the stars of the galaxy shone silently, bearing witness to the moment when one man's refusal lit the first spark of a war that would decide the fate of worlds. The meeting chamber emptied slowly, but the tension left behind felt heavier than the station's gravity. Captain Aaron Vane stood for a moment in the fading blue light, watching the alien delegates file out. Some looked at him with respect, others with silent warning. His young escort, Mara, touched his arm. "Captain, we should leave," she whispered. "The Empress is angry. The guards will not stay patient forever." Aaron gave a small nod and walked with her back through the long corridor. The polished floor echoed under their steps. Behind them, the great doors of the council chamber closed with a heavy sound like a final judgment. As they reached the docking bay, Aaron saw human officers waiting near their shuttle. Their faces showed both fear and pride. Mara opened a private channel on her wrist communicator. "Velas Prime Control. This is Human Shuttle 1 requesting immediate departure clearance." Static filled the line for a moment before a cold, mechanical voice replied, "Clearance granted. Depart within 3 minutes. Zyreth security will escort you until you leave station space." Aaron looked out of the viewport as the shuttle detached from the station. The giant silver wheel of Velas Prime turned slowly against the dark sky. Beyond it, distant stars glittered like cold eyes. He knew those stars might soon be battlefields. The human council hours later, Aaron stood in the high chamber of the United Terran Council on Luna, the gray moon of Earth. Holograms of world leaders flickered around the room. Presidents, admirals, colony governors, and scientists. Their faces were tense as Aaron finished his report. "You refused the Empress's demand and she declared an act of war?" asked Chancellor Imani. a tall woman with sharp eyes. She gave no room for negotiation, Aaron said. It was a public challenge meant to break us. If I had obeyed, the message to the galaxy would have been that humans are willing to kneel. A low murmur spread among the council members. Some nodded in approval, others looked worried. Admiral Cato leaned forward, his uniform shining under the lights. Your courage is noted, Captain, Cato said. But we must face the truth. The Xyrath Dominion commands fleets larger and more advanced than ours. If they attack, our colonies will suffer first. We need a strategy. Another voice cut in, firm and careful. It belonged to Minister Halberg, a cautious politician known for avoiding risks. A strategy? We need an apology. Captain Vane acted alone. We can still send a formal statement of regret to calm the Empress. Pride is not worth extinction. Aaron met the minister's gaze. With respect, sir, an apology will not stop them. Celera wanted this war. My refusal only removed her mask. If we bow now, they will take more than an apology. They will take our freedom. Chancellor Imani raised her hand, silencing the debate. Captain Vane speaks a hard truth. We cannot undo what has happened. We must prepare for the worst while exploring every path to peace. The Council agreed to a dual plan: strengthen defenses across human space and send secret feelers to sympathetic voices inside the Xyrath Dominion. Aaron was ordered to remain as chief liaison and advisor to the defense fleet. The first signs of war within days. Reports began arriving from the outer colonies. Xyrath warships were appearing near trade routes, not firing but shadowing human cargo vessels. Then came the first strike. A mining outpost on the barren moon Hestara reported unidentified ships entering orbit. Communication cut off suddenly. By the time a Terran patrol arrived, the outpost was gone, its surface blackened by precision plasma strikes. No survivors. The news spread across human space like wildfire. Colonists demanded protection. Markets shook with fear. Young men and women volunteered for service in numbers not seen in decades. Aaron watched the reports from the command center on Luna. He stood beside Admiral Cato, who studied a map of the frontier systems glowing in red and blue. They are testing us, Cato said. First small attacks, then bigger ones. They want to see how quickly we respond. They also want to frighten us, Aaron added. If we panic, we will make mistakes. Cato turned to him. You were in the chamber. You saw her eyes. Tell me, Captain, does Empress Zelira truly want total war, or is this still a game of intimidation? Aaron remembered the cold fire in Zelira's gaze. She wants to rule through fear. Whether she calls it war or peace, her goal is the same: submission. The Admiral gave a slow nod. Then we must show her that humans do not submit. The debate on Earth. While the fleet prepared, public debate grew fierce. On Earth, massive crowds filled city squares. Some carried banners demanding war readiness. Others held signs pleading for diplomacy. In the capital city of Geneva, Aaron addressed a global assembly broadcast across every human world. He stood on a wide stage beneath the blue and green flag of the United Terran Council. My fellow humans, he began, his voice steady despite the sea of faces and cameras. The Xyrath Dominion believes our species is young and weak. They believe fear will make us kneel. They are wrong. We do not seek war, but we will not trade our dignity for safety. Our freedom is not for sale. His words traveled across colonies, stations, and ships. On distant mining worlds, workers paused to listen. Children on Mars repeated the phrase, "Freedom is not for sale." A quiet unity began to grow, yet not everyone was convinced. In hidden meetings, some corporate leaders and politicians still whispered of compromise. They feared that open resistance would destroy trade and cost millions of lives. Hidden messages late one night. While Aaron studied fleet reports in his private office, a secure channel on his console flashed with an unfamiliar code. He hesitated, then accepted the transmission. A hologram of a hooded figure appeared, the face hidden in shadow. "Captain Vane," the voice said in a soft, almost musical tone. "Do not speak loudly. This line is watched. I am a friend within the Dominion. All Xyrath do not follow Zelira blindly." Aaron leaned forward. "Who are you?" "A name is dangerous," the voice replied. "Call me Solon. I serve in the high science circle. Many of us fear the Empress's hunger for power. Your action has shaken her. You have allies you do not yet see." Aaron felt a flicker of cautious hope. "If you oppose her, why not act openly?" "Because she controls the military," Solon said. "But there are cracks in her rule. We will send information when we can. Use it wisely. The fate of both our species depends on it. The hologram faded before Aaron could reply. He sat for a long time in silence, wondering if the message was real or a trap. Either way, it meant the Dominion was not as united as it seemed. A galaxy on edge days turned into weeks. Human fleets fortified the borders. New defense satellites were launched around key colonies. The Terran Navy tested experimental stealth ships designed to slip past Xyrath sensors. Scientists worked without rest to upgrade shields and weapons. Meanwhile, Xyrath broadcasts filled the galactic network. Their messages were carefully crafted, accusing humans of arrogance and disrespect. They called Aaron Vane the spitting captain, turning his act of defiance into a symbol of insult. Alien merchants debated whether to side with the Dominion or stay neutral. Aaron watched each broadcast with a steady face. Inside, he felt the weight of every word. He had not sought fame, but his action had become the spark of a coming storm. One evening, he stood on the observation deck of the Luna Command Center, staring at the curved blue Earth far below. Mara approached quietly. "Captain," she said, "do you ever wonder if it was worth it? That single refusal?" Aaron kept his eyes on the planet. "Every day. But I think of the children on Earth, on Mars, on the colonies. If I had knelt, what lesson would they have learned? That fear decides who we are? No, better to face a hard fight than live on our knees." Mara nodded, her voice low. "Then we stand." "Yes," Aaron said softly. "We stand." Behind them, alarms began to sound. A communication officer's voice echoed through the deck. "Attention! Multiple Xyrath fleets detected near the Epsilon Gate. They are crossing into human space." Aaron turned from the window. The moment of waiting was over. The first true move of the war had begun. The alarms of Luna Command echoed through the steel corridors like a heartbeat of danger. Captain Aaron Vane hurried into the main control hall, where Admiral Kaido and a circle of officers stood around a wide holographic map. Red symbols pulsed near the glowing blue gates of human territory. Each symbol marked a Xyrath warfleet moving with deliberate speed. "Report," Kaido ordered, his calm voice cutting through the noise. A young analyst spoke quickly. 3 Dominion fleets have crossed the Epsilon Gate. Estimated strength, 40 capital ships, 200 escorts. They are heading toward the Hestara and Myra colonies. Civilian evacuation is in progress, but we need more time. Aaron studied the map. The enemy fleets moved like sharp arrows toward the outer colonies. "They're testing our reaction," he said. "They want to see if we panic or hold." Kaido nodded. "Agreed. We will not give them an easy victory." He turned to Aaron. "Captain Vane, the Council requests your presence in the war chamber. They want your insight before we commit the fleet." Aaron followed the Admiral into a private strategy room. Around a round table, holograms of Council leaders flickered to life. Chancellor Imani's face appeared first, her eyes sharp and tired. "Captain," she said, "you know the Empress better than anyone here. Is this a full invasion or another show of force?" Aaron took a breath. "It is more than a show. Salira is moving carefully, but she means to crush our border colonies. If we retreat, she will take more. We must resist now or we will never stop her." The Council fell silent. Minister Hallberg finally spoke, voice uneasy. "Resistance may cost millions of lives, and surrender will cost our future," Aaron replied. "Every human world will live in fear. We must prove we are not prey." Imani looked at Kaido. "Admiral, prepare the fleets. Hold the Epsilon line. Protect the colonies at all cost." The frontier burns within hours. The Terran Navy launched into action. Massive carriers and sleek frigates shot from orbital docks around Earth, Mars, and Titan. Their engines left bright trails across the dark sky. Civilian ships streamed toward safer systems, escorted by smaller patrol craft. Aaron joined the flagship Resolute, a battlecruiser stationed near the frontier. From the bridge, he watched the stars stretch into lines as the ship jumped through hyperspace. The crew worked silently, but their faces showed the weight of the mission. Everyone knew the Xyrath fleets were larger, faster, and equipped with weapons that had crushed older civilizations. When the Resolute arrived at the Epsilon line, the void of space was already alive with movement. Human defense platforms glowed like tiny suns. Fleets of destroyers and cruisers formed tight formations, ready to protect the critical colonies behind them. Aaron stood beside Admiral Kaido, who studied the sensor data. "They are holding just outside firing range," Kaido said, "waiting for us to blink." Aaron kept his eyes on the shifting red icons. "They expect us to make the first mistake." The first clash the waiting ended when the Xyrath flagship moved forward. Its hull shimmered with a strange light, a technology no human ship carried. A voice filled the communication channel, translated into crisp English by the ship's AI. "This is Fleet Commander Sarath of the Xyrath Dominion. Humans, abandon your colonies and surrender your fleets. You have 1 hour to comply. Resistance will bring destruction." Admiral Kaito gave a cold smile. "Transmit our answer." Aaron stepped closer to the console and spoke, his voice steady. "This is Captain Aaron Vane of the United Terran Navy. Humanity does not surrender. Withdraw your forces or face our defense." There was a pause, then a soft laugh from the alien commander. "So the spitting captain speaks. Very well, human. We will teach you respect." The channel went dead. Moments later, the Xyrath ship surged forward. The first volleys lit the dark space like lightning storms. Plasma beams and missile trails crisscrossed the void. Human defense platforms fired heavy railguns, sending glowing projectiles at the advancing enemy. Shields flared blue as Xyrath weapons struck. Aaron gripped the railing as the Resolute shuddered under a near hit. Crew members called out shield percentages and damage reports. Through the forward window, he watched a Terran destroyer take a direct plasma strike. The ship spun in a silent explosion, breaking apart into a cloud of glowing debris. "Hold the line," Admiral Kaito commanded. "Keep the formation tight." Human ships returned fire with precision. Stealth fighters darted between the massive cruisers, launching magnet torpedoes designed to pierce Xyrath shields. Several enemy escorts exploded in bright flashes, proving that human weapons could still bite. The battle raged for hours. At last the Xyrath flagship pulled back, its hull smoking from repeated strikes. Slowly, the enemy fleets began to retreat toward the gate. A cheer rose across the bridge. Humans had held the line. The cost of victory, but victory carried a heavy price. Reports came in of destroyed ships and lost crews. The colony of Myra had suffered a direct bombardment before the enemy retreat, leaving hundreds dead and thousands homeless. Aaron stood in the quiet medical bay later that night, watching wounded soldiers rest under soft lights. Their bravery filled him with both pride and sorrow. He knew this was only the beginning. Admiral Kaito joined him. "You did well today, Captain," he said softly. "Your words gave the fleet courage. But this war will not be won by defense alone." Aaron nodded. "We need a way to strike back." Kaito lowered his voice. "Our scientists are developing a new stealth drive, based on alien technology recovered from the Cythera ruins. If it works, small teams could slip deep into Xyrath space. We might strike at their supply lines or gather intelligence." Aaron felt a spark of determination. "Let me lead the first mission." The Admiral studied him for a moment. "It will be dangerous. The Empress has placed a bounty on your name. Every Xyrath commander will hunt you." "All the more reason to go," Aaron replied. "If we can show them that humans can fight inside their own territory, it will break their confidence." A secret offer before plans for the mission could begin. A private message arrived for Aaron. The sender used the same strange code as before. He accepted it in a secured chamber. The hooded hologram of Solon appeared again, the mysterious Xyrath scientist who had contacted him weeks earlier. "Captain Vane," Solon said, "your defense at the Epsilon line surprised the Empress. She expected an easy victory. Now she seeks a final blow. But there is more you must know." Aaron crossed his arms. "Speak." "Zelira uses this war to tighten her control over our people," Solon explained. "Many Xyrath grow restless. We have seen your courage. Some of us wish to end this conflict before it consumes us all. I can provide coordinates of a hidden listening post inside Dominion space. It holds records of the Empress's private orders. Proof that she planned this war before your meeting. If you can obtain these records and broadcast them, you will divide her empire." Aaron's mind raced. "Why help us?" "Because peace will save both our worlds," Solon replied. "But hurry. The Empress prepares a new fleet near the Daran Nebula. If she strikes again before the truth is known, the blood of thousands will stain the stars." The hologram flickered and vanished. Aaron left the chamber deep in thought. The message offered both hope and danger. A mission into Dominion space could turn the tide, but only if they survived. The human spirit. That night, Aaron walked the quiet observation deck of the Resolute. Stars stretched endlessly before him, cold and bright. He thought of the people on distant colonies, of the children sleeping under alien skies, of the soldiers who had died to hold the Epsilon line. Mara joined him, her boots soft on the metal floor. Another message? She asked. Yes, Aaron said. A chance to prove that this war is the Empress's choice, not ours. But it means entering her territory. Mara looked out at the stars. Dangerous. Everything worth doing is, Aaron replied. Humanity didn't reach the stars by hiding. We survive because we dare. He turned back toward the bridge, his decision clear. The next step would not be defense. It would be action. Far across the galaxy, in the dark heart of the Dominion, Empress Zalira studied her own star maps. Her golden eyes narrowed as she plotted the next move. She would not forgive the humans for their defiance, and she would not rest until the spitting captain was brought to her in chains, or until his people were broken. The game had entered a new stage, and the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting for the next strike in a war that would decide the fate of two civilizations. The journey to the Duran Nebula was tense and silent aboard the stealth ship Intrepid. Captain Aaron Vane paced the narrow bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. Every crew member worked with precise focus, knowing that one mistake could mean death in the heart of Zerath space. The Duran Nebula lay like a veil of glowing gas, swirling with green and purple clouds that hid the secrets within. Sensors flickered against interference, making navigation difficult. The hidden Dominion listening post Solon had provided was located in a small moon orbiting a dead gas giant. This facility held records of Empress Zalira's secret orders, proof of her premeditated aggression toward humans. Aaron stood beside his second-in-command, Lieutenant Mara, as she scanned the sensor readings. Captain, she said, signal interference is stronger than predicted. If we make a mistake, the Dominion patrols will find us immediately. Aaron nodded. We move slowly, quietly. The mission is simple. Retrieve the records, get out alive. Nothing more. We cannot fight them here. Infiltration. The Intrepid slipped through the swirling gases of the nebula like a shadow. Its advanced stealth technology, adapted from reverse-engineered Zirath designs, rendered it almost invisible. The crew held their breath as the dead gas giant appeared on sensors, a lifeless world, silent except for the cold hum of orbiting satellites. Aaron led the boarding party in a small shuttle, descending toward the moon where the hidden facility lay. The surface was gray and jagged, a cratered wasteland of stone and dust. The moon's low gravity made movement slow and deliberate. As they approached the installation, Aaron's voice came over the comm link. Remember, everyone, speed and silence. The facility may be automated, but Zerath sensors are fast. Avoid detection at all costs. The team landed in the shadows of the main dome. Twin guards patrolled the perimeter, but they were humanoid in shape, not fully Zirath. Aaron whispered instructions, and the crew moved like dancers through the shadows, using hand signals and silent steps to avoid detection. Mara paused beside him. Captain, the door is ahead. How do we get in? Aaron pointed to a small maintenance hatch at the base of the dome. Through here. It won't be easy, but it is less watched than the main entrance. They pried the hatch open and slipped inside. The interior was dimly lit, corridors humming with the energy of machinery. Sensors lined the walls, blinking red and green. Aaron guided the team, using a device Solon had provided to temporarily disable the security circuits. Discovery. After moving carefully through twisting corridors, the team reached the data core room. The walls were lined with glowing panels, each displaying streams of alien writing. At the center of the room, a crystalline data node floated in a containment field. This is it, Aaron said. We extract the data, then leave. Fast. Mara and two tech specialists approached the node, connecting their portable data extractors. Streams of information began to download, showing detailed records of Zirath fleet movements, communications, and private orders issued by Empress Zalira herself. Aaron watched the process with tense eyes. Every second felt like a lifetime. They were gathering proof that the Dominion had planned to provoke humans and declare war before his infamous meeting. This evidence could change the galaxy. Suddenly, alarms blared. The faint hum of the facility turned into a piercing siren. Red lights flashed along the walls. She's here, Mara whispered. They've detected us. Aaron drew his sidearm, signaling the team to defensive positions. Stay calm. We finished the download. Nothing else matters. Seconds later, Zirath soldiers entered the room, their tall forms gleaming under the red lights. The humans opened fire carefully, aiming only to disable and avoid lethal confrontation if possible. Quick, precise shots disabled weapon systems and temporarily stunned the guards. Aaron took the lead, covering the extraction team. His movements were fluid, a combination of training and instinct honed over years of combat. The team managed to finish downloading the data just as the main defense turret activated, sending a pulse that could have crippled the shuttle if it hit. "Escape everyone out," Aaron shouted. The team ran back toward the shuttle, dodging laser fire and moving swiftly through the twisting corridors. Behind them, alarms blared and mechanical doors slammed shut. The shuttle lifted off just as the facility's internal defenses targeted it. Plasma bolts struck near the hull, sending sparks into the airless sky of the moon. Aaron guided the craft through the maze of craters, keeping low to avoid detection by orbital sensors. Once clear of the moon, the Intrepid met them in orbit and the team transferred the extracted data quickly. Aaron piloted the stealth ship back toward the nebula, keeping to its shadowy depths to avoid Xyrath patrols. Every scan showed pursuers attempting to locate them, but the stealth systems and careful navigation kept the Intrepid safe. Once they were a safe distance away, Aaron allowed himself a moment of relief. "We did it," he said quietly. "The data is ours. Now the galaxy will know the truth." Mara looked at him, eyes bright with pride and fear. "This changes everything. If we broadcast this, Zalira's support could crumble." Aaron nodded. "It is time for more than defense. It is time for the Xyrath people to see the truth." A divided empire, Solan's voice returned over the secure channel. "Well done, Captain Vane. The data confirms what we suspected. The Empress planned this war before your meeting. Many in the Dominion will now question her decisions." Aaron leaned back in his chair, feeling the weight of responsibility. "And the fleets near the frontier? They will continue attacks," Solan warned. "But with proof in hand, the Dominion will fracture. The humans and those Xyrath who oppose Zalira can coordinate strikes to protect the colonies. You may yet force a negotiation." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Then that is what we will do. For the colonies. For humanity. And for peace." What Solan's hologram flickered. "Be careful. The Empress will not forgive easily. She will hunt you personally. Avoid capture. Trust no one blindly." Aaron ended the communication and looked at his crew. "We have a new mission. This is more than survival. It is a chance to end the war before it consumes both our peoples. Prepare for transmission. We will show the galaxy the truth." Tensions rise back in human space. The Council waited anxiously for news. Reports of the daring infiltration spread quickly among fleet commanders. The courage and skill of the Intrepid team inspired hope. Morale rose among soldiers and civilians alike. Yet not all humans were confident. Minister Halberg warned of possible Xyrath retaliation. "If Zalira suspects we have this data, she may strike harder than ever," he said. Aaron replied firmly. "Then we broadcast carefully. Timing is everything. The people of the Dominion deserve the truth, but the colonies must remain protected." Plans were drawn to transmit the data across the Xyrath communications network, disguised as leaks from within the Empress's own council. Analysts worked tirelessly to prepare the files, ensuring the source could not be traced to human hands. Preparing for the reveal, Aaron stood again on the observation deck of the Resolute. Stars stretched endlessly before him. He thought of every human colony that depended on him, every soldier and civilian who had suffered already. He thought of the Xyrath people, many of whom had no desire for war but had been caught under the Empress's command. Mara approached quietly. "Captain, are we ready?" Aaron nodded. "We are. But remember this, our actions must be careful. The truth is powerful, but so is desperation. We must protect our people first. Then we can give hope to the rest." Mara smiled faintly. "You always think of everything." Aaron gave a small shrug. "Someone has to." As the Intrepid and the fleets of the Terran Navy moved into position, a sense of purpose filled every human heart. For the first time since the Epsilon line was attacked, hope felt stronger than fear. Aaron knew the coming days would decide the course of the galaxy, but for the first time, he believed humans had a chance to shape their own destiny, and perhaps to turn enemies into allies. Far across the stars, in the hidden chambers of the Dominion, whispers of dissent began to ripple through Zalira's council. The spitting captain had struck again, not with fire but with truth, and already cracks appeared in the seemingly unshakable empire. Captain Aaron Vane stood on the bridge of the Resolute, staring at the swirling colors of the Daran Nebula through the thick viewport. Behind him, the Terran Navy had formed a defensive perimeter around the Intrepid, ensuring the stealth ship could transmit the evidence of Empress Zalira's treachery without interference. Every crew member moved with quiet urgency, knowing that what they were about to do could change the course of history. Aaron's hand rested lightly on the console, ready to initiate the transmission. He had studied the Zirath communications systems for weeks, and the files they carried from the Dominion listening post were complete. Every fleet order, every secret plan, every document showing that the war had been premeditated, it all lay ready to broadcast across the Dominion's network. Mara approached him quietly. "Captain, once we send this, there's no turning back. The Empress will know. The fleets may come at us full force," Aaron nodded. "I know. But hiding the truth is what started this war in the first place. If we stay silent, more colonies will burn, more people will die. We act now, not out of revenge, but for justice." The transmission with a steady hand, Aaron initiated the broadcast. Holographic panels lit the bridge with streams of data. The files were encrypted and disguised as internal leaks, appearing as though an anonymous faction within the Dominion itself had released them. Within seconds, the transmission spread across multiple frequencies, reaching the far corners of Zirath space. Red alerts began flashing across the Terran Navy consoles. Enemy fleets were detecting the anomaly, but Aaron and his crew had anticipated this. Human ships maneuvered in tight formations, ready to defend the Intrepid until the transmission completed. Across the Dominion, Zirath officers stared at their communication panels, confusion and shock spreading among them. The carefully controlled narrative of the Empress was crumbling. Soldiers, scientists, and bureaucrats alike were reading the files. Orders from Zelira's hand revealed her intention to provoke war, to test the strength of humanity, and to crush any who opposed her rule. Inside the Resolute, Aaron held his breath, watching the progress bar inch toward completion. "Almost there," he whispered. A sudden flash of light on the scanners drew his attention. A Zirath strike group had jumped in, intent on stopping the transmission. Mara's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, they're moving fast. We can't hold them much longer." Aaron didn't hesitate. "Launch the countermeasures. Divert power to the shields and weapons. We fight if we must, but the data must get through." The first salvo of plasma bolts struck the Terran ships, lighting up the darkness with blinding flashes. Explosions shook the Resolute, but human crews returned fire with precision. Guided torpedoes and stealth fighters cut through the enemy formation, buying precious seconds. Finally, with a faint beep of completion, the transmission ended. Aaron exhaled, a long, steady breath that carried the weight of weeks of tension. Rebellion. Within across the Dominion, the reaction was immediate. Many Zirath officers paused reading the leaked files. Their loyalty wavered as they realized their Empress had manipulated them. Some ships hesitated to attack human colonies. Others began to question their orders. Solan's voice came through a secure channel, calm and almost relieved. "It is working. The Empress's support is breaking. Many now see the humans as victims, not aggressors. We may have more allies than you realize, Captain Vane." Aaron nodded. "We prepare for what comes next. Even with allies, Zelira will strike back." In hidden council chambers on Dominion worlds, dissent spread like wildfire. Counselors argued, soldiers demanded explanations, and whispers of rebellion echoed through the halls. Zelira's once unshakable empire showed the first real cracks. The Battle of the Daran Nebula, the Zirath fleets scrambled in confusion. Aaron and Admiral Kaito coordinated human forces for a bold strike. The Terran Navy launched a series of coordinated attacks on key Dominion supply ships and forward bases, hitting where the enemy was weakest. Stealth fighters darted in and out of nebula clouds, torpedoes striking with deadly accuracy. Despite being outnumbered, human ingenuity and courage leveled the battlefield. Ships that appeared too slow or weak were used to bait enemy formations into traps. Electronic warfare disabled enemy sensors. For every human loss, they inflicted multiple Zirath losses. Aaron piloted the Resolute through the chaos, coordinating attacks, issuing orders, and inspiring his crew with his steady presence. Focus on the weak points. Protect the Intrepid. Every ship counts. The battle raged for hours, each strike precise and purposeful. Slowly, the Zirath began retreating in disarray. Many refused to fight, questioning their Empress's motives. The confrontation. Meanwhile, Empress Zelira received the news. Her golden eyes burned with fury as her communications officer delivered the reports. "Captain Vane has leaked confidential orders, Your Excellency. The Dominion fleets are hesitant. Rebellion spreads among your officers. Zalira's expression hardened. Then it is time to remind them why we obey the throne. She activated a private portal to communicate directly with Aaron. The hologram of the Empress appeared on the Resolute, towering and radiant, her presence commanding every inch of the bridge. "Captain Vane," she said, her voice sharp and cold. "You have interfered with the affairs of my empire. You have exposed secrets that should have remained hidden. You will kneel before me or face the full wrath of the Dominion." Aaron stood tall, his eyes meeting hers without fear. "I will not kneel. Humans kneel to no one. We fight for our freedom and we fight for what is right. Your empire is built on fear, Empress. The galaxy sees it now." Zalira's glare intensified, the golden light of her eyes flaring. "You dare to defy me again?" "Yes," Aaron said simply. "We stand. We will always stand." The fall of the Empress across the Dominion, the rebellion gained momentum. Officers turned their ships toward neutral zones instead of attacking humans. Scientists and administrators refused to obey Zalira's orders. The Xyrath people, long loyal but fearful, saw that the humans had acted without fear, with honor and courage. Solan's voice guided Aaron through secure channels. "Now, Captain, broadcast the truth to every Dominion world. Let them know what she has done. Peace is possible if we act quickly." Aaron authorized the broadcast. Across Xyrath space, millions of viewers watched the documents, the evidence, and the human message. "Your ruler sought war for her own ambition," the transmission declared. "She has endangered your people and our worlds. The time has come to choose peace, to reclaim freedom from fear." The effect was immediate. Fleets stopped attacking. Civil unrest spread through cities. Council members demanded Zalira step down. Faced with the collapse of her authority, the Empress could no longer control her empire. A new era, with Zalira deposed by her own council, humans and rebel Xyrath factions negotiated a treaty. Colonies were secured, ships returned to neutral control, and the galaxy began to heal from the brink of war. Aaron returned to Earth as a hero, celebrated not only for his courage but for his wisdom and restraint. He never boasted of his actions. Instead, he reminded people that victory came from unity, honor, and the courage to stand for what was right. Mara joined him on the observation deck of Luna Command, watching the Earth rise above the horizon. "It's done," she said softly. Aaron nodded. "It's done. But remember this, freedom must be protected. Courage must be shown. Today we stand, tomorrow we prepare. That is how humans survive." Far across the stars, the remnants of the Xyrath fleets patrolled cautiously, aware now that humans were not prey but equals, resolute, clever, and unbowed. The galaxy had learned a new lesson. Humanity's strength was not in numbers or technology alone, but in its unyielding spirit. Even against the most powerful empire, humans would stand. They would survive. They would inspire. And in the quiet of space, where stars glittered like distant watchful eyes, Captain Aaron Vane reflected, defiance is not rebellion for its own sake, but a promise that freedom and dignity are worth any risk. Humanity had shown the galaxy what it meant to stand tall, even in the face of war. The stars, silent witnesses to every battle, shone brightly over a galaxy changed forever.